Chris Rock has just released Selective Outrage on Netflix. I don't know if you're aware. About a year ago, give or take a day or two, Will Smith was in attendance while Chris Rock was giving awards, and he said something negative towards Will Smith's wife, which Will Smith initially laughed at. He thought it was funny. But then when the camera pans towards his wife and she rolled her eyes and gave him the "what you gonna do about it" look, he got up, straightened his tie, walked straight up in front of the nation, walked straight up to Chris Rock, gave him that front hand slap. Didn't give him the backhand. That's, you got to reserve those. But he gave him all that front hand slap. Will Smith is about a foot and some change taller than Chris Rock. And he probably outweighs him by like 90 pounds. He's a monster compared to Chris Rock. Bigger, stronger guy. Chris Rock makes a point in his thing. He says rappers and everybody was talking about him and his entanglement and his rap career and the whole 9 yards. Never did nothing. And then itty bitty Chris Rock says something and he gets smacked. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. That's not a good look for one of America's popular dads, one of America's popular wedding couples, one of America's icons in movies and television, a funny guy, someone who you would perceive as to be a nice guy. And he walked up on stage and got the smallest person that said something about him and gave him that tennis racket action. Pow! That's not cool. That's not cool. I dig Will Smith. I've been listening to Will Smith since I was younger and everything, way before summertime. I think I can beat Mike Tyson. You saw my blinkers chick. Way before that, I've been listening to Will Smith. I enjoyed him, even when it was not cool to enjoy Will Smith. But this was not a cool move. So today, Chris Rock waited a while, got his head together. He didn't press charges. He didn't go on any TV talking about, "Oh, I got smacked." He didn't do any of that. He's an artist and he's a comedian. He took time, probably got with some other comedians, sat down and he wrote out a FU to Will Smith. There was an entire thing. There's an entire comedy show here. He does an entire set. But he reminds the audience it's predominantly about Will Smith. He talked about dating. He talked about race relations. He talked about politics. And in between and in betwixt all of that, he jumped on Will Smith's back the way he can. Now, he ain't going to beat Will Smith. He's not going to walk up to him, knuckle up, and beat up Will Smith. That is not going to happen. But Will Smith, even as a comedy actor, is not going to out-comedy Chris Rock. You ain't going to beat Chris Rock standing up next to him telling jokes. There's very few people that can do that in Hollywood. Maybe a guy off the corner that I don't know about, but in Hollywood, there are few people who can do that. Will Smith is not among them. So he gave it to him. He gave a master class on taking someone down using your comic chops. Now, granted, it was not his best performance. It wasn't. It wasn't his best performance. Personally, I think his best performance was Bad, Bigger and Different Tour. That was hilarious. I laughed through the whole thing. I can remember grabbing my stomach and chuckling. This one, there was comedy, but there was pain. And this also, you felt it, that it hurt. He said, people asked him if the slap hurt. And he said, his slap hurt today. I don't think he meant physically. I don't think he meant physically. He is hurt by a man he called his friend. He said that when Will Smith had that entanglement, he tried to call him and talk him down, you know, hey man, it's gonna be all right, that kind of a thing. And Will Smith returned his kindness with a smack on national television in front of his mama. He really dug into Will Smith's chest when he talked about the entanglement. Picture this. Men, picture this. Women, picture this in the reverse. Your wife decides she wants to sleep with your son's best friend. I mean, think about the son at first. The son has to go to school, or maybe they wasn't in school no more, I don't know, has to go and be around his friend knowing that his friend is sleeping with his mom. Now kids tell jokes. Kids tell jokes about each other all the time. Oh, you so black, every time you get in the car, the oil light comes on. Kids tell jokes, but that is reality. There's nothing that Jaden could say to his friend that he couldn't be like, yeah, well, you know about me and your mom, right? I'm surprised they're not stabbing each other in the street. I'm surprised Will wasn't stabbing that dude in the face with a knife or something. I don't know how that dude survived doing that, but he did. And then what Jada does is she's like, oh, you know, we should probably talk about that on my show. And she interviewed Will Smith. She introduced him to her show by saying, let's talk about my entanglement. You know, hey, remember that time I slept with that little kid? I was mad at you, so I figured I'd do the dirty deed, you know, with this little boy. And she wanted it to be like a subject on her show. That is horrible for the son, for the daughter, for everybody connected to it, except for Austin. I mean, he's probably today walking around telling people, remember that time that I did that thing? I mean, it's got to be terrible for everybody. It doesn't seem that she cared that much, you know. But he got deep with that. But I enjoyed it. Again, it was a master class. He was upset. There was a lot of pain. Even today, a year later, there was a lot of pain. Now, what I'm hoping is that these two brothers get together and they talk. Will smacked him, wasn't right. Chris went in on Will, maybe a little harder than some of us would have, but maybe not as hard as some of us would. So he went on Will, they got one in on each other, clean slate, leave it alone. You don't have to be friends, you don't have to hang out at picnics, but maybe they can leave it alone. Because in my mind, if it goes further than this, Dave Chappelle and Eddie Murphy are friends of Chris Rock. They're probably friends of Will Smith too, but I would imagine that they're closer friends to him. Could you imagine if the three of them got together and decided to give it to Will? I mean, Chris just ripped him in half just now. If the three of them got together, and maybe others, I don't know, got together and decided to give it to Will, I don't think that brother could handle it. Hopefully, they end it. Hopefully, Will don't write a rap and say, I'm going to rap about this. Summertime. I hope he doesn't do that. Because, I mean, he knows people too. They all know. They're all rich and famous. They all know people. Maybe they will let it go. But in the background, I'm thinking that Jada is like, I don't know that woman, but from perception, you know? From perception, I'm thinking she's in the background talking about, you're not going to stand for that, are you? I hope that that's not the case, because she's going to push him into something worse. You know what I mean? And nobody want none of that. So, Selective Outrage. I thought it was great. Again, I thought it was a comical master class. It was really good. And I'm probably going to watch it again tonight. Because I was laughing through some things, and then when I stopped laughing, the audience was laughing, so I know I'm missing something, but I didn't want to rewind it because I wanted to see what he's going to say next. I'm probably going to watch that again tonight. Well, you should let it go, man. Both of y'all. Let it go, let it go. And I am going to give Selective Outrage, Chris Rock Selective Outrage, I'm going to give that 10 bags of popcorn. I think I've only done like 2 or 3 10s on this show, but this is a 10 because of the comedy, it was funny, because of what we know about it, why he did it. That was powerful, and the way that he conveyed his pain, even though he was telling jokes, that's difficult. Masterclass. 10 bags of popcorn. That's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now you've seen the video, let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn Passport.